Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. I'm so excited to share with you today that I am launching my brand new community, RxL. I'm going to tell you all about it, why I created it, who it's for, all the details, and there is a very special founding member rate going on right now, and then it closes until later this year, so you're not going to be able to get into it. So I'm going to break all that down later, but before I do, I want to talk to you a little bit about what's going on in my life and how it relates to RxL and why the timing, I believe, is so synchronistic and perfect of how everything in my life has lined up for this launch to happen at this time. Now, if you've been following me on the socials, you would know that last week I announced and shared with everyone my mom's diagnosis with breast cancer. She had her breast implants that were 34 years old, they were almost as old as me, removed back in May. And when she went in and had them removed, they ended up sending in a biopsy and found that she has breast cancer, tested positive for a tumor. So for this whole summer, we've just been on standby of trying to figure out how large is the mass, where has it spread, and just last week she went in for a double mastectomy, and we found out that there was cancer that had spread to her lymph nodes, though we're not really sure if the cancer was there in the first place when she was first diagnosed. So there's still so many answers we don't know, and it has been this whole journey, this whole summer of carrying this like big secret where my very inner circle I have let into this, but publicly on social I haven't shared because part of me wanted to, honor and keep this private, because the more we talk about it, the more like energy we put to it. I always think about Louise Hay when she talked about when she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, and she told 2 people because she didn't want anyone to know. She didn't want to be treated differently. She didn't want to bring any energy toward the cancer, right? And so I always have been thinking about that in the back of my mind. Like, do I even want to continue to talk and put energy into this? Well, at the same time, I believe in the power of prayer, and I believe in needing to be supported. And so it's been this internal conflict I've been dealing with for the last, I guess, since the first week of June. And last week I finally broke my silence. And if you had noticed on socials, I'd been getting a lot of messages asking like where I've been. I've been really quiet. And it was because I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to share with my mom. And I was having a hard time sharing, and honestly, even just like being happy in my life, knowing that my mom is going through this and we were all just so worried and concerned. And so I took a huge step back to just internalize everything. And I had felt creatively stagnant. I had felt blocked. I had just felt this heaviness on my heart and in my spirit, and it was really affecting me everywhere. And ultimately, like last Tuesday, I had just this big thing happen in my life where like everything just kind of like fell apart. And it was funny because the episode that launched the day before was Breakdown to Breakthrough. And I was talking with my good friend Maria, and she's an amazing human design and branding coach. And we do like weekly calls. And she's like, oh, wow, you didn't film this episode yesterday. I was like, no, I filmed it a week ago. So this had been going on for a long time. And really where we were at was that when we're like on the brink of birthing this new version of us, like that is a process that it is a deep and can be a very painful and scary and unknown experience. But as many women know who've gone through labor, like the labor and delivery seems to be, one of the most intimidating parts of pregnancy. It's the shortest part, but it's definitely intimidating. And I know for me during my pregnancy, I was so nervous about labor and delivery. And then I went through it and I'm like, wow, that was it. I could do that again. But it's on the other side of transformation. We have to walk. We have to keep going. Before I filmed this podcast today, I went over to my deck of cards, and I have these beautiful cards. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it, but I have the Rose Oracle cards by Rebecca Campbell. These were gifted to me by the beautiful Amanda Bible as a gift for me. And I decided to shuffle and pull. And the first card that before I even shuffled, it was open to a card called the Crowning. And I go, wow, that would be so funny if that was the card I pulled. So I shuffle. And sure enough, the card that jumps out at me is the Crowning. And I was like, I knew it. I knew it as soon as I saw it, that was my message before I filmed this podcast. And this morning, Marie and I had a call, and We were just talking about being on the brink of transformation, how much it really does relate to a birthing process, and to trust in that and to know that on the other side of birth is a rebirth. It's the new version of you. It's that new life that you're going to create. And so it's to have this faith and to keep walking through and like trusting in our body, trusting in spirit, trusting in, our intuition and where we're feeling guided, and to lean into that, right? And to trust the process. So I want to read to you the message that I pulled for our podcast today, because I thought it just quite literally was so spot on that I have to read it. So the card is the crowning, and it symbolizes initiation, thresholds, birth, rebirth, a seat at the table. There comes a time when the flower knows that it can no longer remain in the protective constraints of the bud. Somehow it needs to trust in the birthing energy and surrender to the unknown of the bloom. The same birthing energy exists within all of nature and birth, both physical and metaphorical. It is an initiation for the mother as well as the child, who transitions from the water world of the womb to a whole new one on earth. This is a card of crossing thresholds and walking through the gates of initiation, which requires great courage and faith. There are rolling contractions, and it's almost always not straightforward. As we transition from one thing to another, we're called to burst through the constraints of the seed and the certainty of the bud so that something new can bloom from within. We're always birthing something, and deep inside, we know that the only way to surrender to the initiation is to surrender to the innate power within. This power is inner, but it's also connected with the intelligence that exists with all of life. It's the same energy that tells flowers when to bloom, and it was present when you grew in your mother's womb. Trust in that. It will carry you through. Surrender to what's wanting to be born through you. Life is always trying to initiate us into even more of who we truly are. And the soul inquiry question is, how is life trying to initiate you? Well, I don't know about you, but I got chills. I got a little emotional reading that, just trusting, having the courage and the faith to walk. And this morning we were talking about birth. We were talking about how birth is related to transformation. And so I was like, what should I film on this episode of the podcast? We're launching the community, which I'm so pumped about, but like there's still more backstory that I need to give. And so I want to share like this story. Back in May, I started reading Gabrielle Bernstein's book, Happy Days, and it really started me on this journey of addressing childhood trauma, of working through limitations, of confronting parts of me, pieces of me that I've stuffed down, I've locked and put away, I've compartmentalized in order to survive, in order to keep moving forward, in order to be strong, in order to keep going, right? We just like shove it down and keep going. And I started to unpack a lot of inner child trauma, addressing a lot of ways to reparent myself. And it brought up a whole heap of emotions where in May, I honestly couldn't really talk to my mom for the whole month of May. I really just needed some space to distance myself as I was coming up with, honestly, all these just memories started flooding back to me that I had completely blocked out, and a ton of repressed emotions just were coming through. That's when I really went hard on my tapping and just was like journaling and tapping through this and allowing myself to feel safe, to feel that I was supported in order to go into this work. And I leaned into a close group of friends and was sharing what was going on. So I was getting some wonderful guidance there. And as I'm working through all this, it brought up a lot of things I needed to address and conversations I needed to address with people. And right when I was kind of building that up to start talking about it publicly, I started sharing some inner child posts on social media and talking about it and starting some really great conversations. My mom gets diagnosed with breast cancer. And it immediately made me feel that I couldn't talk about things from my childhood. that I needed to now protect my mom like I did in my childhood, that I couldn't be vulnerable. It wasn't safe to me to be vulnerable, and it wasn't safe to share. And then I needed to look after my mom. A lot of my childhood we spent dealing with child protective services wanting to take us kids away. And I remember doing a lot of interviews and quite frankly lying in order to protect my mom, because I was afraid I would leave and be taken away from home, because that was constantly a threat for a good chunk of my childhood. And so it just started really rebirthing a lot of ways that I was a parentified child, that I really took care and looked after my mom. And, love my mom, full credit. I know she did the best she could with what she had. At some point, responsibility just has to be taken for all of us, including me on my end. And it's important that in order for me to move forward, I need to address certain things that have happened. And personally, I've realized that, I've been doing a lot of work on my own, but bringing in a clinical professional, a therapist, to help me navigate this deeper trauma work is the direction that I'm headed. And I've learned a ton of self-help modalities. I truly believe in journaling and tapping and community. And now I'm finally in a place, because I've interwoven all of these, where I can go deeper. And that is something I'm ready to do. I'm actually having my first therapy session tomorrow. So, I'll keep y'all posted on how that goes. And yeah, it's just scary. It's scary. And back when I was reading my journal from like 2020, I was journaling all about right early into COVID. I was journaling about creating this community. It was a program that I had called Transformation. And I remember writing this program, and it was all about total body and mind. It was connecting meditation with movement and nutrition and community. And those were like the 4 pillars that this program was about. And I believe that when we integrate all of them, when we focus on those 4 things, again, moving our body, creating energy, letting things like flow through us, eating foods that give us energy, that support our body, being surrounded by people that believe in us, that support us, being in a space where we feel safe to express ourselves, that is absolutely paramount in order for us to feel safe, to open up and bloom and blossom into that life and confront those shadows that maybe we're looking around behind. And that is why I created RxL, was because I want to cultivate a space for deeper dialogue. I want to infuse the body and the mind with movement. I want to provide mindset tools like tapping and meditation. And most importantly, I want to cultivate a community that believes in transformation, that is ready to up-level their lives, that is ready to walk with courage and faith and look at the parts of us that we don't want to keep hiding anymore. Because if you're like me, like eventually they're going to come up and bite you, and we're going to be stuck again in the same loop. So really being vulnerable and courageous to just look within in order to heal, setting little goals every day that help us feel like we're winning. And I believe that health and fitness is our foundation for transforming our lives. And that's what I've poured into this community. I've taken all of my workouts. I have 34 loaded workouts in here. I have my library of meditations. I think it's 11 meditations, affirmation scripts. I'm putting together this full library of EFT tappings on increasing your self-worth, reducing anxiety, tapping on your relationship with money, and all sorts of stuff that I'm currently working on with the team. And I want to provide these resources for transformation and make it affordable and accessible to anyone who's ready to transform their life. And so we've been working hard for the last, 6 months putting together the RxL community. And it's the official Reign Over Your Life community. And it caters to women. It caters to women who want to up-level their life and come together. And I'm really excited for it to launch and to share it with all of you. It is open now, and I am doing a founding member rate, which is the lowest rate it's ever going to be. That's going to run for 6 days. So it runs for a few more days. We're increasing the price. So the price goes up. It almost doubles for another week. And then we close enrollment and it'll open later. If you want to get into the community, if you're ready to reign over your life, you want access to my total body guide fitness programs, my workouts, my meditations, all my recipes, all of that is preloaded, ready to go, hosted in an exclusive community on the Circle platform. So it looks just like an app on your phone, and we have private messaging you can do in there. We have support groups that are going to be running, and it really is just a space for women to feel safe to transform their lives. And it means so much to me to launch this because I need that. I need that support, and I need all this. I've leaned in on my health and my nutrition. I always come back to it when I'm ready, when I need to make a shift in my life. It's my staple. It's my cornerstone for change. And I want to share that gift with other people out there who are just tired of feeling stuck and stagnant and hitting these walls and not able to finally move past them. And I believe that when we address, our inner workings of our self-worth and what we believe we're worthy to have, that can take a little time. If we can go straight there, incredible. But for other people, including myself, the backdoor approach to building confidence in setting goals around my workouts, building my AM and my PM routines, and feeling confident in the food I'm putting in my body, developing that relationship of really honoring my body as this vessel for me to experience life that hosts my spirit and my soul, and building this healthy relationship with myself is the first step for me. And that is what RxL caters to. So we're officially live. It is here. I'm going to link it down in the bio, and I am going to be running a really fun fan favorite Fit for Fall challenge. It's going to start on September 12th. So if you have done that program with me, we're going to do it. It's a 21-day fitness challenge of fall workouts, and we even have an entire preloaded library of seasonal fall recipes like pumpkin spice frappuccinos and coffee drinks and stews and crock pots and chilies, and they're all healthy. They're all healthy approved. All my recipes are easy to follow, easy to make, taste delicious, and are very focused on low sugar, no processed foods. And they just really teach a healthy way, a healthy lifestyle of honoring your body, because baby, this is the way you experience your life. Like I said, we have a founding member rate that is the lowest rate we're ever going to offer. It's honestly makes me uncomfortable because of how low the price is. But I was look, I know for some people, money is an issue, and I never want a lack of time, money, or resources to ever stand in the way of anyone who's ready to change their life. And so for those who get in early, you're going to get the lowest price that's ever going to be offered for RxL. You're going to get into the community. You're going to get locked in. It's kind of a no-brainer because I have over $2,000 worth of content, and I'm giving away the founding member rate for $44, one-time fee, and you're into the community. It's not a monthly membership. That's how we're doing it. It goes up to $77, and then we close the doors on September 18th. It's done. We're not opening it up for anyone last minute. It's done. It's closed, and then we'll open it up later on this year, probably one more time before the end of the year. So I hope to see you guys there. I'm going to link it below. You can sign up and join RxL, our exclusive community, my club for personal development, spiritual growth, and ultimate lifestyle design. We're kicking off the Fit for Fall challenge on Monday, September 12th. I believe that's the date. And we're going to just bring our community back together. I miss having the community I created with my Total Body Guide coaching programs. I miss having that space for us to come together and have a united goal. And I'm so excited and honored to be relaunching that under our new brand. RxL stands for Reign Over Your Life, our community for podcast listeners. And I will see you guys inside circle. So with that, thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. If you found this inspiring, please share it with someone that you love who may be going through a hard time and is on the brink of transformation. And especially if you want them to join RxL with you and get locked in with the founding member rate, be sure to send it to them. And I always love when you guys post this on social, post like a screenshot of a reflection of this podcast episode and what it meant to you, and tag me. It means the world for me to see that, because it feels like I am making a difference, showing up and just sharing my heart, because that's my dream. It's like my ultimate dream. And to know that you guys are listening, it just honestly makes me feel, my heart like bursts with love. It bursts in a good way. Okay, guys, I will see you next week, or I'll see you inside circle for those who join our brand new RxL community. Okay, mwah. Love ya. Bye.